Hello, happiness abounder, and welcome back. We are completing our theme week all about money and happiness, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is spending money. And in fact, spending money within my budget is my favorite thing. I'm one of those people that I love boundaries. Like, I like parameters. You tell me where the parameters are, and I have a blast inside those parameters. But if you don't give me any, I become chaotic and kind of messy, right? So I think that being a person of structure, and I love structure, having the boundaries and parameters of a budget is so amazing because then I know where my money's going. I know exactly what I can spend where. And I know if I'm going to spend money that I can spend X amount before I go outside the boundaries and things start to get chaotic again, right? So I want to talk today about budgets and spending money. So what I mean by this is that when you are creating your budget, which we spoke about yesterday, when you're creating your budget, I want to encourage you to consider setting aside a little bit of money in your budget for you to spend. That's right. Setting a budget does not mean that it all goes to this direction and then you are miserable and you can't go out to eat, or you can't buy Christmas gifts for your friends, or you can't buy that necklace that you really liked that you just kind of saw randomly. Doesn't mean any of that. What it means is that you can choose how you spend your budget of spending money. If it's on the necklace, great. If you spent it on dinner and you don't have anything left for the rest of the month, maybe you can't get the necklace. Now, I say necklace because this is one of those that I'm wearing a necklace now, and it's one of those that I saw and I really, really wanted, and luckily I had some money in my spending budget so I could get it. But point being that if you think creating a budget means that you cannot spend money on you, I want you to put money in the budget that you can spend on you. Now, this amount can vary. Obviously, stay within reason. Don't give yourself $500 a month to spend when you have a $300 credit card payment due. Like, put $300 to that and give yourself $200, right? Don't prioritize the spending part over the paying down debt part. However, do prioritize spending some money in your budget on yourself so that you feel free to do what you need to do to stay sane. And I've used this example before, so if you're a longtime listener, you've probably heard this. But my husband and I, in our budget, we each have an amount of money every month that we can spend on us without any connections or ties. And what's funny about this is I always joke that he would spend it on something that I'd be like, oh, why would you ever spend your money on that? And then I spend mine, as odd as this is, I tend to spend mine on crystals. So when I was in Scotland, all of my budget towards buying stuff for me went to crystals and jewelry, actually. And so it's just really funny because in my husband's eyes, I'm spending good hard-earned money on rocks. Just let that sink in for a second. I'm spending money on rocks. But that brings me a little bit of joy. It's something I enjoy doing. It's something that I like to collect. And I have my money, my monthly spending money, that I can spend on whatever I want with no judgment from my partner, no judgment from my spouse in our shared budget. So he can do the same with his money. I do the same with mine. In our budget currently, we have $200 a month. Most of that goes towards, at least in my case, that goes towards getting my hair done. That goes towards some clothing items. And then I usually have the rest in savings. And then one day I see something, I'm like, you know what? I really like that. And I have the money. Here I go. But having that is what keeps me from not feeling so restricted in my budget. I have parameters. I have $200 a month that I can spend on anything I want. And if I don't spend it, that's fine. I can save it. And now I have even more money for the next month because obviously I get the next 200. And if I go down to zero, I go down to zero. And next month I get 200 because it's in our budget. But it allows me to feel free to spend it on stuff like rocks that maybe I wouldn't want to spend in my budget otherwise. But if I had nothing but non-fun money in my budget, I would feel so constricted and so restrained that I would not set myself up for success, because then I would want to spend money on fun things. I'd go overboard on my food budget or whatever it may be. And that just deteriorates the entire budget. And then I'm not making the progress towards my debt. And then I'm not feeling happier because I'm not in control and being a good steward of my money. So this is the best of both worlds. You have a budget, you have those guidelines, those parameters to work within. And within that, you have a set amount of money set aside for you to have fun with. So you don't feel so constricted. And it sets you up for success because you have a little bit of breathing room with whatever that amount of money is for you. Obviously within reason, put debt as priority. But whatever that amount of money is for you, and it's in this bigger grand scheme. So you are making big progress towards paying off your debt. You're paying off your monthly bills, and you still have a little bit of money to spend for fun. It's like the best of all worlds. But I think for most of us, I thought, and we think that a budget means no fun. And if you do that, then you're not having fun and happiness in creating the budget. You're not having fun in working within the budget. And then you're going to walk away from it. And then you're not having fun and happiness outside the budget because then it's chaotic. And you're then back to struggling and worrying and wondering where your money's going each month. So as we talk about money and happiness, and we talk about budgets, I just want to encourage you to set aside a little bit of money just for you. If you're in a relationship and you have a shared budget, both of you get some money to spend without judgment. My husband can't judge that I spend my money on rocks. I don't judge that he spends his on cars. And there we go, right? It's really freeing while still being in those parameters of a budget to make progress to be debt-free. And all of that comes together to allow you to have the mental and emotional capacity to not be worrying about your money and to be able to focus on the things that bring you happiness and joy. So I'm going to leave you with that today. I know that for some of you, this is probably like so obvious, but I know that it wasn't obvious to me when I first started my happiness and money journey. So I thought I would share today. If you liked this episode or you liked this theme week, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know what you thought, what resonated, what made you go, whoa, and what made you go, maybe I'll turn this podcast off, but then you came back. I would love to hear from you. So you can find me at happinessabound.com, Happiness Abound blog on Facebook, and happiness_abound on Instagram. And if you liked this episode or any other episodes of the show, you can help other people find it by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or on Facebook. It's as easy as clicking that 5-star, or if you want to do a quick written review, all the better. It helps us come up into the search engines so that when people search for happiness podcasts, they can join our community. So that said, have a wonderful day. Be sure to put aside some money in your budget for you. And above everything else, remember, you are capable of happiness abound.